Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the homestead. Nice, fairly cool morning this morning here in central Oklahoma. Doing a little work inside the shop today, just this morning. Waiting for looks like the sun's gonna be out and sun will burn off all the dew and frost and whatnot. And get out and do some stuff that needs to be done before the Arctic blast comes through sometime next week. The forecast keeps changing, but they're saying maybe snow on Tuesday and then again Friday, something like that, next week. So that'll, kind of slow me down on stuff I'm doing outside. But plenty to do here in the shop and in the greenhouse as well. So it's, feels like winter hasn't even really gotten here yet, but I'm feeling spring already. So today I am working on a little project. I am making a seed germination chamber. Is what it's called, I guess. It's an old refrigerator with a thermostat and a crock pot and some shelves. And that's how a lot of very successful people are germinating their seeds much quicker and more successfully. So a friend of mine told me about this last season, and she had done it, and she has tomato and pepper seeds germinate within days rather than weeks. So I'm gonna start some here hopefully tomorrow, January, I don't know what the date is, January 6th or something like that. It's Saturday. So I'm gonna work on this little project. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing and get some seeds started, at least some tomorrow, see how it goes. Now, just to be clear, the seeds are germinated in trays in this little contraption, and then they're moved as soon as they're germinated, they're moved under, if you had them inside, you could put them under grow lights. You could, I've done other videos on my little seed propagation kind of tent in my high tunnel. And if you haven't seen that, go watch that video. I may do another one here this spring once I move I definitely will. Once I move my germinated seed trays into there, I will do a video showing that. So this is a very short time situation. They're only in there for a few days. They germinate and they're out under full sun. That's how you get your seedlings off to a good start, and they don't get, what they call leggy, which is basically the seed just growing straight up, no leaves or very few leaves, because it's searching for, sun. So anyway, I'm in the shop. I'm gonna turn you around here. I've got the wood burning stove ripping and roaring here, and I'm gonna show you the fridge here that I got. So stand by a second. All right, so as you can see, this is probably the first fire I've had in the shop this year. It's just been too dang warm. It's crazy. So this is a 1880s Silver National stove. I bought this thing maybe 8 or 9 years ago on Marketplace, and man, I absolutely love it. I mean, what a conversation starter there, huh? But we'll do some videos on that at another time. But to show you here, this is the fridge that I have. It was a fridge that was being trashed because it doesn't work anymore. It's actually in really good shape other than it doesn't work. So what I'm doing to start out here, whoop, out of focus. I'm gonna go ahead and rip out the condenser and the wiring and stuff just to make space. I will probably use this freezer portion for storage, for trays, maybe even, you know, my seed starting, soil, different things like that. And then the fridge portion, I think I'm gonna cut the plastic interior of the door out just so I have a flat spot. I may not even mess with that this year. I'm not really sure. Well, Duke's got to check things out. What do you think, Duke? Anyway, I will take that drawer out, or all of the drawers, and just use the shelves. Now, I may have to build some shelving in there just because, you know, I don't need a lot of space in between the trays of seeds. So I may try to build some racks in there. I'm sure I've got some scrap that I can build some racks with, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna get the junk portion of this torn out and then be back with you. Okay, well, so I got the guts of the fridge torn out, and I just got to point out that when I do any kind of demo, I like to keep my scrap metal. And I know it's not a lot, but right here, there's a stack of aluminum and some steel, and then a small stack of copper. And I know that seems like probably a waste of time to a lot of people, but this flat metal comes in good to be cut into strapping, or, I mean, all kinds of stuff. And if nothing else, I'll just bring it to the scrap yard when I make a haul and get rid of it that way. Better than putting it in the trash can. And the copper, I mean, copper, of course, prices go up and down, but I've got a whole 55-gallon barrel of copper behind the shed back there that's almost full. Who knows how much it weighs. That'll be a nice little haul someday when I bring that to the scrap yard. So I am going to turn you around here and show you what I got done here. Okay, so I took the little guard things off of the shelves on the door, but for now, I'm gonna leave the plastic portions here on. You can see how much that sticks inside of this area, but I think for now it's gonna be fine. Eventually, if I really wanted to maximize my space, I could just cut all this off, this front part that sticks in, and get a flat piece of plastic or whatever I got, screw it to this just to make sure that the styrofoam insulation doesn't get torn up. Same with the door portion on the fridge. I went ahead and ended up tearing out the little section in between the fridge and the freezer, but this was kind of a metal piece here that I left for support, and also, you know, the fridge and the freezer doors will seal up against this, so I wanted to leave that. But everything else, you know, it's not perfect. It doesn't look perfect, but man, for what I'm doing with this, it's gonna work just fine. Again, I tore out all the compressor and all the junk all over there, and I only had a couple of shelves. I had this full-size shelf and then these two half shelves, and so I put those in there. Now what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a crock pot, and I thought we had an old crock pot, and we don't. We just have a nice new crock pot, digital. What you really wanna use is a crock pot that doesn't have any digital stuff, just like a hot, or like a medium and hot knob, nothing digital. And that will sit down here at the very bottom, and you'll fill it with water. And that will produce the heat and the humidity to help germinate these seeds. So anyways, I've got these in here, and then it ended up, I was looking around the homestead for something that I can use as a rack, and I had a piece of cattle panel that was kind of torn up, whatnot. I used it, kind of roughly measured, and they all kind of fit differently. Like you can see, there was a groove here for that piece of plastic I took out that separated the freezer and fridge. So this part here, that worked out perfect. This piece here, I ended up drilling holes in the back and just slid the metal into there. And then what I'll do is I'll have to add maybe a block of wood or something right here, so that can kind of set on there. Same with over here. And other than that, that should be good. This one was a little bit tight, and so it's bowed down. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. It's probably fine. I was gonna put some what are they called? Like a wire straps or whatever you call them that like electricians use to strap their wire to a truss or a stud or whatever. Just one here and one there, and then in the back here, they're stuck in that little holes for the adjustable shelves. So that should work out perfect. This isn't going to be terribly heavy. The trays that I have in here, it's going to be real light soil, and like I said, they won't be in here but more than 2 or 3 days. So this is going to work great. Next, I'm going to show you what I picked up to kind of operate this whole thing. And this is going to be kind of hard. I'm here by myself right now, and so I wanted to make this video, and I didn't want to wait for Chief to get back. So this is an Inkbird thermostat controller. So it's kind of all built for you. And I think this is awesome. You've got your plugs. This one is for cooling or heating, but I'll just use the one on the right there for the heat. And my crock pot will plug into there, and then this will plug into my outlet. Try to get this thing to lay flat here, but it's just out of the box. And then this is a little probe, so it can be stuck through the refrigerator wall, and it'll just hang on the inside, and that's your temperature control or thermostat, whatever you want to call it. So that's just a little, just to show you what I'm using here for products. This was, I don't think it was like maybe 35 bucks. Give you a second to look at the numbers on that. But anyway, that's what I'm using. And let's get this thing installed, and I'll give you an update. All right, well, as I said in the other video, Chief had picked up a cheap crock pot at Walmart and got it home. I thought I was gonna get to finish this whole project yesterday. I opened the crock pot, the box, and it is the porcelain bowl part was cracked all the way across, completely broken in half. So, kind of ruined my mojo. She had also said, well, that was the last one they had at that Walmart. So we ended up last night going to a different Walmart, which is, you know, you've got one in two different directions and they're about the same distance away. So not far, but we exchanged that one and got a new crock pot. But I also got some little brackets for these shelves. As I was talking about yesterday, I originally thought that I would use like wire strapping that like electricians use to attach Romex or wire to, you know, a wall stud or a joist or whatever. I ended up going with these. These are just little, you know, they're probably like a shelf bracket of some type, but I bought about 4 different kinds. They're cheap, and these are nice to have around anyway. So I just went ahead and bought several packages, different sizes and shapes, whatever. And what I did here is, you can see where this back here, it's got some slots that were in the plastic of the shell that it's setting on, but on the front here, you know, there was no way to hold weight up. So I just added these in with some sheet metal screws and the duct tape. You know, I don't think it'll last here in the humid and hot inside of this when I'm using it, but it's mainly just to keep it from falling off in transport. I'm gonna eventually move this whole thing out to my high tunnel greenhouse, and I'm just gonna keep it out there all the time. So I've been using kind of whichever size bracket works based off of, you know, the plastic shell of the fridge. They didn't all work everywhere, so this one down here, I used the small one, and you can see here. So can you kind of zoom in here and show? So basically, on this bottom one here, basically that piece of cattle panel wire, it doesn't have anything to hold on to. So when I put this on there, it's going to give it the support to hold that weight. So I've just got 2 more to do, and these shelves will be completely done. As you can see, the crock pot is down there. I think this was like $24 at Walmart. They make these cords on these things so short. I mean, this thing's probably 2 feet long, that's it. So I'm gonna have to get maybe a short 6-foot extension cord, because I wanted to mount that controller high up here on the side of the fridge. So I'll have a hole down here on the side for the cord to come out. And then I'll have a hole here. I'm gonna put the little the little probe that'll read the temperature inside. I'm gonna put it about midway up, and then I'm gonna mount the controller here. So while we're filming and talking about it, we'll just go ahead and do it. So what I'm gonna use, here for the probe, I just got a drill bit that's about the same size. I already kind of measured these out. I've got little Sharpie marks there. All the way through the metal. You can see the little bit of insulation, styrofoam, and then I went through the plastic shell on the inside. And then for the hole at the bottom, it's got to be big enough for a plug to fit through, a cord to fit through. So on that, I'm going to have to use a hole saw. Grab my other drill here. So if you're not familiar with a hole saw, it's basically kind of a specialized bit this attaches to your drill, and then it has a small drill bit there in the middle as it's kind of a reference or a guide. And then there's all kinds of different styles, but this one is pretty sharp because you don't need any special tools. I had other cheap ones before that you needed different special tools, and once you used it enough, it seems like it was impossible to get that off. And there's different size. This is an 1.25 inch hole saw, so there's different sizes, and they make up to this portion here, this white portion, they make up to 6-inch hole saw. So all different sizes. So this is probably going to be kind of loud. I may have to mute this part, but pretty easy. So that we had to take a little break because we got 4 needy dogs that want to be all up in our business. So anyway, Chief had to take a little break to love on the dog for a while. I went ahead while she was doing that. I went ahead and I put the rest of the 2 brackets to hold the shelves up. The shelves are done. Now, the last thing I got to do here is install this Inkbird. The sheet metal screws have a kind of a rubber washer grommet on there. So as it's sucking into the metal, it's pretty thin metal, but it's still, you just don't want to over tighten it. You could use any kind of screw or Velcro or whatever, probably. That'll probably work. And we'll get this thing all set up. This is what plugs into the wall socket to control the Inkbird. And then here on the Inkbird, the crockpot will plug into heating. While we were taking a little break as well, I found a little 6-foot extension cord. Whoop, stepped on a dog there. I did find a little extension cord. Now hey, stop. They don't mind very well. Great Pyrenees don't mind very well, period. What I will say is I don't want my electrical connection to be inside here, because again, this is gonna be, all right, baby. This is gonna be full of tons of moisture. According to my friend Rita, who told me about this little contraption, when you open these doors up after this has been running for a while, just the water is just gonna come pouring out. It's gonna be a lot of water. With that in mind, I may want to stick a couple of 2x4s under that crock pot. I can't imagine the water getting that deep, but if I put a couple 2x4s or maybe reuse one of the plastic drawers out of here and get that crock pot off of the bottom a little bit. But so basically, that plugs in. You gotta get all the little bends out of this, make it a little easier to work with. I think I'll just stick that in there just like that. So you can see it's just loose in there. So that's what's gonna monitor the temperature. So we'll do a little cord management. I'll also put some silicone in this hole and some silicone or putty or spray foam or something in this bottom hole just to seal those up. And then the Inkbird has settings. So if you want it to be, you know, if you want the crock pot to come on at a certain temperature, it will kick on. If you want it to shut off at a certain temperature, you can do all those settings. My friend Rita also had a fan, a small electric fan. It was maybe a 5-inch, 6-inch fan that she had drilled into the side up here at top. And it was also controlled by the Inkbird, if I'm not mistaken. And that way, if it got too hot or too much moisture in there, the fan would kick on and relieve a little bit of that. Remember, this is going to be in my high tunnel, and even in the winter, dead of the winter, that sun, it will heat up so much in there. And then with this being in there as well, you know, it could really get warm. So I'm going to try this in the high tunnel. We'll see. Rita has hers in her garage, and then as the trays germinate, she moves them to her high tunnel, where she has something similar but better than what I have, kind of a tent, a second tent inside the high tunnel, you know, which is basically a clear plastic tent. And I think she has a heater inside hers. Hers is big enough she can walk inside of it, and she has a heater in there. So that's how she does it. I don't have room for a bigger structure just because I have the raised beds. So I'm gonna do a little cord management, tidy this all up, and we'll show you the finished product here in a minute. All right, so cord management, making everything look nice, as far as cords not hanging all over the place and everything like that. One thing I did think about is with this being in my high tunnel, when I irrigate in the summertime, you know, I don't think that it would be best if this didn't get all wet anyway, this connection here. This is probably all waterproof, but I may have to build just, or even use a piece of tarp to connect to here and just kind of overhang this a little bit. That way any direct water as far as sprinklers or irrigation doesn't get on that. So anyway, this is the final product. Again, this plugs into the outlet, the wall, powers this, and then we got the crock pot and my shelves. I think that this could hold 2 trays per shelf. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 trays. That's a lot of seedlings. That's a lot. So, needless to say, I don't plant that much, but I probably will start that many because, you know, they're not all going to germinate. And even if they do germinate and you move them into, the warming tent or whatever you want to call it to grow before spring, not all those are gonna make it. Last year was the first year that I actually did that successfully, and I will say I had a pretty dang good survival rate. I'd say 90%. So, beginner's luck, I guess. But what I ended up doing is I planted what I used and I gave a lot of those away. Why not? You could sell them, you could trade them. I just give them away. So we're gonna get this thing moved out to the high tunnel and get her fired up. Well, I can only get so close in here with the tractor, so we'll have to use the hand truck to go the rest of the way. This should be fun. Can you push from the front? All right, well, we got it in here. I'm not exactly sure where I'm gonna put it. My electric outlet's over there behind this little grow tent. So, looks like it'll probably go over there, but I've got some stuff to move to get it back there, and we'll probably do another video when I start actually putting trays of seeds in there, and kind of an everyday, once I get them planted and trays in here going, we'll check on them every day and see when we start seeing germination and stuff, and you'll see the final setting when we do that video. So that's it for now. Really excited to give this a shot. This, instead of taking weeks for seeds to germinate, this is taking days. So pretty neat. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for being here.